Hello everyone, you have come to Tata Comic Preview channel. Let read together. Have fun. After entering the dojo, every illusion will be dispelled. Yi Jin parted his palms, and the Taoist veins dissipated. In my dojo, I'm the overlord. Lu Zhou returned his gaze to Yi Jin. Yi Jin was clearly trying to show his strength. This was Yi Jin's so-called sincerity to work together. He looked at Yi Jin, perplexed. Overlord? Yi Jin said tonelessly, the path lies in the heart, and the path is the heavens. Knowing the heart is the same as knowing the path and heavens. Your avatar has appeared, sir. Lu Zhou had a treasure called the golden Taishu mirror that would reveal all creation's true forms. He did not expect Yi Jin would be capable of pulling this off with the Taoist veins in the dojo. However, only his golden lotus was exposed, not the karmic fire. No wonder Yi Jin was so confident and wanted him to pass a message to his senior Lu. The dojo was silent for a moment. Lu Zhou said, I don't need your approval if I want the crystal. If I wish to take it away, no one can stop me. As for working together, what if I refuse? Yi Jin shook his head. A wise man submits to circumstances. Those who cannot understand current trends are dumb mules. You've traveled a long distance over the endless ocean, why must you make enemies for yourself? You have no reason to reject my proposal, sir. Lu Zhou had to agree Yi Jin had a point. Under normal circumstances, it was indeed a good idea to work with Yi Jin. He replied indifferently, you're wrong. Yi Jin was puzzled. You've planned and accounted for many things, but you miscalculated one thing. Lu Zhou said. He paused for a moment before he added, you're irritating. Yi Jin's smile faded. Is this the reason? It's a good reason, Lu Zhou said. Yi Jin joined his palms together again. The Taoist veins in the surroundings flowed like water and surged again. A buzzing noise rang in the air. It was as though the Taoist veins were resonating with something. Their strength seemed more powerful compared to before as well. To tell you the truth, I've studied the crystal before. Unfortunately, I was too forceful and damaged it a little, Yi Jin said. Lu Zhou frowned slightly. If Yi Jin's earlier actions merely irritated Lu Zhou, his actions of damaging the crystal had stepped on his bottom line. He thought to himself decisively, this man will surely become the source of a great problem in the future. I can't let him live. Although your reply disappoints me, I'd still like to hear Senior Lu's reply. Leave the crystal here, sir, and then, you can leave. Yi Jin's tone was calm, and he did not sound the least bit disappointed. From the beginning, he had no intention of letting the person in front of him leave with the crystal. Everything was just a test, the real contest was just about to begin. Lu Zhou stared at Yi Jin as he said, that's enough. He rose his feet slowly. He did not plan to entertain Yi Jin. As soon as he got to his feet, the scenic paintings shot out red lines that merged together. Moreover, they were merging at blinding speed. It was as though they were leaving the formation veins inside the dojo. It was a unique formation vein. You can only leave once you leave the crystal behind, Yi Jin said. Lu Zhou flipped his palm casually. A golden palm seal sailed toward Yi Jin. Yi Jin's figure faded out of focus. The palm seal hit thin air and did not touch the moving lines. In this dojo, I am the overlord. The buzzing sound grew even louder at this point. Lu Zhou noticed Yi Jin's figure was becoming more ephemeral as well. In the next second, Yi Jin appeared behind Lu Zhou. He stood with a straight back and a calm expression on his face. He extended his hand and said, crystal. Formation? Lu Zhou looked at the Taoist veins around him. This is my dojo. It contains the absolute heaven formation. In this formation, the greater your cultivation base is, the more powerful I'll become. Becoming stronger when faced with a stronger opponent. Interesting. Lu Zhou nodded. Alas, I can't leave the crystal here. Yi Jin shook his head again. You know nothing about me. Hundreds of runes immediately appeared in their surroundings from the scenic paintings. The red script seals seemed as though they were crafted out of human blood. Zhou spread his legs. Seeing one's nature, the Buddhist dhyana mudra. Golden circles appeared, keeping the red script seals at bay. Yizhen flitted toward the character "Are you?" He seemed to be everywhere all at once. An illusion? From the very beginning, the one I've been talking to wasn't Yizhen, but an illusion? I might have miscalculated. Despite his thoughts, Zhou was not flustered. He was more than strong enough to leave this place. Avatar. When Zhou's 9-leaf avatar appeared, its height and size were suppressed. It was only as big as an average adult. It did not even have the karmic fire. This was one of the absolute heaven formation's effects. It provided the user with more power when the opponent was powerful. It was superior to the 10-terminal formation. The 10-terminal formation cut off all primal chi and barred all entries and exits. However, the user of the formation would also be restricted. Absolute heaven formation had no such restrictions. Additionally, it strengthened the user while it weakened the opponent. Yizhen appeared half a meter before Zhou. His Confucian robes hung loosely on his body. Zhou was not flustered. He waved his arm. A palm seal sailed forth and hit Yizhen. Yizhen's body rippled with red radiance as he absorbed the golden palm seal. At the same time, his aura grew stronger as well. His expression was neutral as he stood with his hands on his back. I've told you. You know nothing about me. Realization dawned on Zhou. He retracted his avatar, deactivated seeing one's nature, and the dhyana mudra. His primal chi faded away as well. Then, he sealed his Dantian sea of chi and blocked his extraordinary 8 meridians. With these actions, the red lines, the red light, and the script seals in the dojo gradually faded away. Yizhen clapped his hands. You're the first person to understand how to deal with the absolute heaven formation. Alas, with this, you don't even have the energy to strangle a chicken. Zhou remained silent as he stepped forward. He extended his hand and pushed out. He was no different from a mortal now. Yizhen continued to stand with his hands on his back, he did not move. He was certain Zhou would not even be able to touch his clothes without primal chi. Alas. Originating from nothing, from it comes everything. Living in samsara and learning from it. The moment Zhou's palm touched Yizhen, his extraordinary power surged out. Yizhen felt as though his chest had been hammered. His eyes widened as a shocked expression appeared on his face. It was too late. Bam. Yizhen reeled back like a cannonball. Bam. Yizhen crashed through the "Are you a character" of the dojo and through the wooden door, flying out into the courtyard before he landed at the base of a lonely cherry blossom tree. Fear washed over him at this moment as he looked at the human-shaped hole he left behind. Zhou walked over nonchalantly. Then, with a burst of movement, he was upon Yizhen again. He launched another palm strike. Yizhen did not understand what was happening. Did the absolute heaven formation lose its effects? He saw Zhou sealing his sea of chi and extraordinary 8 meridians. He did not understand how Zhou was still capable of unleashing a technique. The palm strike caught Yizhen off guard again. He flew back and crashed through the 5-story courtyard and flew off the middle peak. He quickly struck with his palm and summoned his avatar. His 150-foot red lotus avatar illuminated the northern side of lofty steep mountain. Thousands of disciples looked up. The karmic fire burned and dyed the sky red. It shone as brightly as the sun and the moon. Yizhen was no longer looking ahead. He joined his palms together, and Confucian scripts appeared around him. The Taiji produced 2 forms, the 2 forms gave rise to 4 phenomena, the 4 phenomena gave rise to the 8 trigrams, and the 8 trigrams would dictate fate. Thousands upon thousands of script seals surged out. At this moment, a voice rang from above Yizhen. Young man, the one who's ignorant is you. Zhou shattered the deadly strike card in his hand and pushed his palm down. His fingers shone with a golden light. The Taoist 9 cuts hand seals, the Soul Diamond Seal, the Great Blitz Treasure Seal, the Outer Circle Mystic Seal, the Inner 8 Words Seal, Fetterless Seal, the Pantheon Seal, the 8 Trigrams Seal, the Magic Gourd Seal, and the Sun Moon Seal drop down. Will you dare to act so savagely now that I'm suppressing a Confucian cultivator with Taoist moves? Bam! The first palm seal pushed through the Red Lotus avatar like a hot knife through butter. Yi Zhen frowned deeply. He grunted and spat out a mouthful of blood. He hastily retracted his avatar and attempted to escape. The second palm seal approached Yi Zhen silently as though it was locked onto him. Bam! It landed on Yi Zhen's chest. The next 2 palm seals followed suit and landed on Yi Zhen's chest consecutively, causing him to plummet from the height of 100,000 feet. Boom! The 5 final palm seals struck the ground. Ding! Killed a target. Reward, 4,500 merit points. There's no domain extra? Zhou was puzzled. He's not from the Red Lotus domain? However, this was not the time to dwell on this matter. Zhou unsealed his extraordinary 8 meridians and Sea of Qi, restoring his cultivation base. At this moment, the Flying Star House disciples were flying toward him from below. Based on the current situation, the use of the Deadly Strike card was a loss to Zhou. However, considering the fact that Yi Zhen would surely grow into a huge threat in the future, nipping him in the bud was the best course of action. Zhou hovered in the sky on the northern side of the middle peak. The Taoist 9 cuts hand seals had attracted the disciples in the area. It also caught the attention of Chen Tiandu, the master of the Flying Star House, who was on the middle peak as well. His voice thundered in lofty steep mountain as he shouted, "Activate the formation." The sounds of energy resonance rang in the air. At the same time, many Red Lotus avatars flew off the 5 peaks that resemble fingers. Several 100-foot avatars were charging swiftly to the scene. Above the middle peak, a peculiar energy seemed to be brewing. A 10-leaf expert. I have 1 Deadly Strike card left. If I fight him to the bitter end, I might still stand a chance. However, the formation of these 5 peaks is strange. Zhou did not think that it would be in his interest to stay on lofty steep mountain. However, he was rather tempted to stay when he saw the moving merit points that were charging toward him. Buzz. 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 The Taoist veins formation was forming, but Zhou's extraordinary power would not be restricted. Forget it. I should get out of here, just to be safe. Zhou unleashed the power of past lives again. With his extraordinary power, he unleashed his grand technique and moved swiftly toward the north. At this moment, 1,000 disciples arrived where Yi Zhen had fallen. Several 8-leaf avatars saw a flash of blue in the sky to the north. Perhaps, it was due to the setting sun and the evening mist, most of them did not have a good look at it. Someone's invaded. After them. Roughly 5 8-leaf avatars gave chase in the direction of the flash of blue light. Meanwhile, many low-rank cultivators followed them from behind. As for the other disciples, they landed next to the ditch that Yi Zhen was lying in. What happened? Although the commotion was huge, when they hurried over, all they saw was a flash of a figure, numerous palm seals, and Yi Zhen's falling red avatar. If my eyes didn't deceive me, I think a 9-leaf cultivator was hit out of the sky. I think it's Elder Yi. Impossible. Elder Yi will be the one doing the beating. At this moment, the formation of lofty steep mountain was completed, it enveloped the area. Taoist veins flowed in the skies. At this moment, a disciple at the edge of the pit said, "There's no one in here." Apart from a human-shaped dent stained with blood in the center of the ditch, nobody could be seen at all. How's this possible? I swear I saw a Red Lotus cultivator plummeting from the sky. I'm sure it was a 9-leaf cultivator as well. A disciple cried out in confusion. The other disciples were puzzled as well. Some of them leaped into the ditch, but they did not find anything. That's strange. Why isn't there anyone in here? Maybe the person who flew off the middle peak is Elder Yi? The others looked terrified. Several low-rank nascent divinity cultivators flew toward the middle peak and landed in front of the 5-story courtyard. They saw the human-shaped hole, the damaged wooden walls, and the cherry blossom tree. The disciples hurried to the dojo's entrance. They bowed. "Greetings, Elder Yi." However, they were only greeted with silence. They were puzzled. With Elder Ye's cultivation base, it was impossible for him to have missed such a huge commotion. They mustered up their courage and drew closer to the dojo. The middle peak had its own rules. Apart from direct disciples, nobody was allowed to approach the dojo with Yizhen's permission. Therefore, the disciples were extra cautious as they approached the dojo. At this moment, the side door suddenly opened. It was Yizhen's direct disciple, Jiang Shaoxing. "Get lost." The disciples were stunned. They, naturally, did not dare to question Jiang Shaoxing. They hurriedly bowed before they turned and left. "I'm warning all of you, anyone who dares to trespass on my master's dojo will be severely punished," Jiang Shaoxing fiercely said as he glowered at the disciples. The others shuddered and hastily left. After the disciples of the Flying Star House left, Jiang Shaoxing entered the dojo and shut the wooden door tight. His face glistened with sweat as he patted his chest. He muttered under his breath with a grim expression on his face, "Meng Changdong is capable of killing my master?" Meanwhile, in the forest north of lofty steep mountain, the rays of the setting sun were filtered by the trees. It was getting darker and darker. Under a huge tree, Yizhen supported himself with one hand against the ground as he spat out a mouthful of blood himself. He panted heavily as he sat and leaned against the tree. When he looked up earlier, he had seen 8-leaf cultivators of the Flying Star House giving chase. However, they were nowhere to be seen now. "Who are you?" Yizhen gradually calmed down. He waved his hand and patted himself down to remove the dust on his Confucian robe. It was much cleaner now. Then, he straightened his upper garment. Even so, there were still bloodstains on his collar. For some reason, the bloodstains annoyed him greatly. He removed it and tossed it away. Swoosh! His karmic fire appeared and reduced the robe to ashes. He was left in his white garment. He continued tidying his clothes before he finally calmed down. After that, he sat his legs crossed and regulated his breathing. Meanwhile, after leaving the formation of lofty steep mountain, Zhou headed north and entered another forest. He did not continue flying. Instead, he remained standing in the forest. Soon after, 5 8-leaf cultivators from the Flying Star House caught up to him and surrounded him. "Who are you? How dare you trespass into the Flying Star House?" Zhou turned around slowly and looked at them. The 5 of them were shocked. "Elder Meng? You're chasing me?" Zhou's mannerism, speech, gaze, and posture were starkly different from Meng Changdong. "Meng Changdong, what's the meaning of this? How are you going to explain yourself to Elder Yi after causing such a great disturbance?" "Elder Meng, that 9-leaf avatar north of the middle peak was yours, right? Why did you do that?" The 5 of them questioned Zhou in turn. Zhou's expression remained indifferent. His temper that had been ignited by Yizhen had not subsided. He got away easy since he was killed with just a palm strike. He raised his hand and launched shining golden palm seals in the air. "How dare you challenge me, you 8-leaf cultivators?" The 5 cultivators were shocked. Zhou stepped forward. With every step he took, a leaf emerged from the golden lotus under his feet. Soon after, 9 leaves sprouted among the golden flames. Golden lotus karmic power. This is bad. Flee. Zhou, naturally, would not decline if people willingly offered up their lives to him. The 5 people who thought they were chasing someone Yizhen had injured fled in different directions. Bam! One of the shining golden seals landed on one of the cultivators, causing him to fall. He quickly flipped in the air. When he looked up, he saw a sight that he would never forget. Zhou rose into the air as a 150-foot avatar rose from the ground. The golden karmic fire burned brightly. A loud buzzing noise rang in the air as an exquisite arrow and bow appeared in his hand. He held the bow and arrows with his 5 fingers as the other hand pulled the string back. The arrows shone with a blue radiance as tongues of flames shrouded them. Swoosh. 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 4 energy arrows shot out in 4 different directions. Zhou did not hold back at all. He used half of his extraordinary power and divided it among the 4 arrows. At the same time, he had shrouded them with his karmic fire as well. Coupled with his 9-leaf cultivation base, no 8-leaf cultivators would be able to defend against the arrows. Zhou no longer looked at the cultivators. His avatar and unnamed that had shifted into a bow disappeared. At the same time, the golden flames and blue radiance faded away as well. Finally, he reverted to his original appearance. 100 meters away, the only 8-leaf expert who was only hit by the golden palm seal looked at the advancing old man as fear tightened its grip on his heart.